How's practice today?
Practice today went well. Had a couple of just hiccups in special teams in particular. A couple things that we just need to get cleaned up, but overall it was a fairly clean, positive day.
Tim White's a guy who took one back last week, so I assume that's not a good sign that special teams is having a bad day at practice.
Well, luckily the special teams issues weren't associated with him, and so hopefully that's a good sign of knowing where number 12 is going to be, because he's been phenomenal. Guy that I think has really been, he's always been a fast guy, and now he's breaking tackles, making guys miss, and just kind of adding those extra dimensions to his game.
How good's Charles been returning picks for you guys?
He's been good. We've had a couple guys in there. Darren last week did a couple really good things. Obviously, put the ball on the ground one time, which we don't want to do. But Charles, I think, is in a good place health-wise, just as far as trying to manage his body and manage his reps.
Arizona State runs a lot of, they call it the Sparky. How do you prep for that this week, and do you anticipate it seemed like they did about a third of their snaps last week.
Yeah, when the quarterback situation was kind of up in the air a little bit, they pounded it with those guys, and I'm sure they anticipate doing that some against us. It's been highly varied how much they've done that against certain opponents, and so not exactly sure what dictates that, but we're prepared for it, and we have a plan in place.
Is there a way you can replicate Ballage's running style? I mean, not many guys are 6'4" and 240.
Yeah, he's a unique talent, and they've got a couple other guys that they put in there that have been equally as effective against some people. So that whole thing is just all about eye candy and everything that they do formationally and motions, and you have to stop the ball, and whether it's him in that package, the quarterback in their other run game stuff. Just assignment football and being accountable.
They put Falk on the ground 7 times last week. What do you tell Justin about just quick release, or how do you counter the heavy blitz?
Well, it's kind of like anything. You've got a plan for drop back. You've got a plan for moving the pocket. You've got a max protect. All those things that kind of change up. From an offensive standpoint, how you can change up your attack to keep them off balance. You've got to be able to establish the run game. They've been unbelievable in stopping the run, and they really hang their hat on that. But yeah, it's an assignment deal. They get a lot of one-on-ones. They'll pressure with 6 a bunch, much more so than anybody else really in the country. And so if you're in a 6-man protection, that's 6 one-on-ones, and they've won the majority of their one-on-one battles and won a lot of those last week.
Talked about Justin Herbert identifying the protections, like you said. How much of it's on the offensive line to execute that protection, also recognize it pre-snap?
Yeah, they do such a great job of varying their pressure, how they come. It's usually 6 guys coming from all different spots, and so it might be 4 off one side, 3 off each side, or some combination thereof. And so, yeah, part of that is on the center, part of that's on the tailback, and then, obviously taking care of the football. And if we break down from a protection standpoint or a route standpoint, that comes back to the QB.
You said last week, sorry, you said last week that your plan to kind of get this team back together on the bye week was just preaching your message again, making sure these guys are all bought into, win the day, kind of keeping on. Because of the way the season has progressed, do you ever try any kind of in practice ways to change things up and get the team more motivated, or is it really just focusing on what this culture is about?
It's I don't know if it's necessarily a question of motivation as much as realizing just how important every single rep is, realizing how important every single day is. So yeah, we have done some things of end of game situations that are live, special teams plays that are, we did yesterday, covering punts and covering kickoffs, for instance, live, trying to get 12 on the ground. So just reinstilling all those things of how important every single rep is. You don't know that 3rd and 2 in the second quarter is going to be the play that, springs it.
Coach Hoke kind of laughed off the GPS tracking devices and everything, but it sounded like Cal was the best effort you've seen out of at least the secondary all season. How much do you put into that kind of scientific stuff?
Oh, a ton. I mean, some of the what he may or may not know is playing 742 plays or whatever we did is going to play into that somewhat. But yeah, that's all the stuff we do is very valuable, just as far as trying to prevent injury or reduce injury. Again, unfortunately, it's insert line here of that hasn't obviously worked this year, and so anything that we perceive that can be an advantage or a psychological advantage going forward, we're gonna utilize. A lot of that is very is very black and white, very easy to understand. And then that's where being a sports science guy is a lot easier than being a coach, because you can either blame it on overuse or underuse, and you still got injured. So it's,
you were a quarterback yourself, and obviously Coach Yost is mentoring the quarterbacks. What does he do, especially for the quarterbacks, in terms of mentoring off the field?
Well, I think he's a great guy, great family man, great person. First and foremost, he's a really good football coach. He cares a lot about his guys in every way. You can see that. I think that a telling thing that I've noticed of guys always keeping in contact with him from a long way back, and it's been the whoever, the Blaine Gabberts and the Brad Smiths, as much as it's been the guy from Akron that he recruited way back when, and so all those relationships are important.
Royce seems like a guy that would play through a lot of pain, has a high pain tolerance. Where is he right now? Coach Lubick said yesterday he's healthier than he was last week. Do you get that sense when you watch him at practice that he's maybe better than he's been in a few weeks?
I don't know. He's nobody's played probably near where they want to, and he probably would put himself at the front of that list. But he and many other guys are still finding that whatever the catalyst to make them go, and so hopefully that's sooner rather than later. But those guys, you have no idea how much a tailback gets hit in the course of a game, whether it's in protection, it's just simply getting tackled by 6 people on one play and taking those shots. Those add up.
He says trusting your instincts and your reads is always important, but especially against this team, it maybe takes on more importance. Why this team?
Well, I think maybe if you were talking about the Wildcat type of formations, those things, you got to fit your gap, and you have to fit it with great pad level, great urgency, or it's a home run. That last week you see 1 yard gain, 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain, home run. 70 whatever yard touchdown, and so that's job one with anybody. Is stopping the run, and in particular those types of formations, you have to be the aggressor. You have to identify it and attack it.
Arion Springs got pulled in the second half against Cal and was kind of fighting for the starting job. How was he responding to this?
I think his response has been what you want, and all those guys have competed a little bit better this week. So hopefully that will create a little bit more urgency as a unit.
Any of your kids going as Coach Yost for Halloween?
No, I might. I'm gonna get a mop head.
Thanks.